We are coming up on very weird times, and it's quite disturbing because I didn't know that this cashless world society thing was going to manifest this quickly. I mean, we're in 2025. It's going to be 2026 soon, but what I'm seeing from this notification I got earlier shook me to my core and quite disturbed me. The free movers of the world, the free thinkers of the world are running out of time because the EU just passed this very strange law, and you're not going to believe it, while they're dealing with the Epstein files and the fact that Donald Trump and Bill Clinton, all this just crazy debauchery. There are laws being passed in the EU, and the EU is really just this mother of the beast system. Is really just this mother of a lot of these organizations that run the world. The EU has most of these things, and so the law they just passed makes sure that you live in a cashless society. It was fine with debit cards, credit cards, that's cool, you have the options, but they integrate this stuff so seamlessly so that regular people like you and I who are raising our children, or maybe you're of retirement age and you've already raised your children, maybe you're helping your grandchildren, but you want to travel, you want to be a free thinker. You already are a critical thinker. That's why you're here. Well, the EU just passed a law stating that business to business transactions or consumer to business transactions have to be cashless if they are over 10,000 euros. Yes, they have to be cashless. Now, this is an effort to stop money laundering. And you're like, well, I can't really argue with money laundering. Like, that's a good thing to stop. Like, who wants money to be laundered in strange, diverse places? But this is a double-edged sword. This is the type of bait and switch that they have been known to do literally for centuries. They did it on the Native Americans. They did it to the Americans. They do it in Africa. They did it in Asia when they colonized Vietnam. Like, I could just go on and on. And if you didn't know Vietnam was colonized by the French, then check that out, because it was colonized by the French, and the Philippines colonized by the Spanish, which I did not know until literally last month. But listen, this law is taking it a step further. When you would transact and do business with other businesses, maybe you just want to pay in cash, this is the first step to a ban on cash. Because the next logical step is going to be what? Oh, over 5,000. You know what? Over 1,000. You know what? Let's just do away with dollars and euros altogether. Let's just have digital money on top of this. The fact that right now you are seeing crypto hit new lows, Bitcoin specifically, has wiped out its entire 2025 gains. The entirety of the system is pretty much back in 2024. And if you're not an investor, you're kind of confused, or maybe if you're a new investor, you're like, what's happening? This is literally another bait and switch flip that's going to integrate everybody into the beast system, because when the system turns back on, you're going to say, oh, now it's time for Bitcoin to rally. Now it's time for these things to go up, right? It was bad enough that Apple just passed the Apple ID passport that's in your phone. It's bad enough that you already have these real ID controls in America and in other areas of the world. And this is why it is so critical for you to make a decision today to live in a cash-based economy, because the cash-based economies of the earth are still faring pretty well. I happen to live in a cash-based economy in Mauritius, Africa, on an island. Some would call it, developing and things of that nature. And there's not Amazon and there's not all of these conveniences and just things. But understand, convenience is literally going to slaughter your freedom. Yes, convenience is going to slaughter your freedoms. And so you want to start to make the decision and say, you know what, maybe I'm okay with not being as convenient or in as a popular a country or in as a popular a place, because at the end of the day, you are going to regret not having your freedoms when they are taken away. And there's only going to be a couple of nations on the face of planet Earth that are still going to be cash-based societies. And I've been looking at different countries, been looking at different things. And the Most High, Yah just keeps showing me, stay put where you are. It doesn't necessarily get much better than this. And so if you are someone that has been looking at the cash-based economies, this is your sign. Look at a Mauritius. Look at maybe a Senegal. Look at places that are off the beaten path. Look at island nations. Maybe you could try like somewhere in the Pacific Islands, Vanuatu, Tuvalu, who both have digital nomad visas. But you're going to have to get very creative, because in these times, these cash-based societies will start to dwindle away, even on the continent of Africa. Even South Africa had just announced that they are going to be doing the same thing, and they will have their passport that is tied to their biometric system the same way the EU does. And so you want to research these things, or get in community with people who do. You could subscribe to members only at $7.99 a month. You know, some people pay that amount for Netflix and watch a bunch of crap all day, but this is geopolitical news. This is wisdom. This is discernment. This is you understanding on a deeper level that the system is about to flip right before your eyes, because again, the EU has just unleashed this law, and the next logical question is, okay, which country is going to come after this? And I want to remind you about the metrics that we are looking for when we're looking at cash-based economies. I think so many times people return to the C19 mindset and say, well, what places were C19 free? And there were only two, Tanzania and Madagascar, but we are in a different timeline now, okay? They're not necessarily going to do the exact same things that they did back then. Understand that. And so the metrics that we are looking at, we want to understand who has a cash-focused society and which countries don't have a cash-focused society. Which ones are cashless or moving towards, hey, we're going to have our Bitcoin reserve and our crypto this and our this and our that. You want to look at the nations that want to hold on to the old route, the more traditional route, the more biblical route of living that still uses like actual physical currency in their day-to-day transactions. Because even as an expat, it is beneficial for you, even if you're an American, Canadian, you're from the UK, you're from the EU, wherever. If you go to somewhere that is cash-based, you're going to be taking your money out the ATM and paying in cash. You're going to be in a system that does not follow the same rules as their system. Sovereign nations have the ability to make their own rules and decide to what extent they want to be in this new cashless robotic society. And again, as if this wasn't enough, I also want you to think about this. I saw this today on Instagram, and it was talking about the age of AI and how humans actually are getting dumber because they don't like to use handwriting. Yes, like I love writing by hand. Like, humans don't like to use handwriting. They don't want to write with their hands, but there's something that happens in the brain where you write with your hands and your neurolinguistics come together to make you more creative and fluent so that you can get your thoughts out and so that you can be a bit more productive. But people don't even want to do that anymore. And so I'm really worried, and I think, what kind of world is going to be left for humanity to live in after the age of super duper technology and AI enhancements that are out of this world? You are going to have to make the cognizant decision, and it's going to have to be a very much aware decision, that you're going to be different than other people, that you're maybe going to be reading books in a cafe instead of talking to a chatbot, that you're maybe going to carry your notebook around and still draw and be creative and write your business ideas down and support businesses who have the same values as you. After all, my values and guidelines is what got me here today to this specific country. You may not even know which trajectory you're going to be on. You may not know the exact country, the exact place, but if your values are intact and you do not negotiate with your boundaries and your values, then you are going to be able to manifest a world that you want to live in. And the majority of humans probably won't live in that same world as you. They're probably going to be on VR with their EU digital currency and in the hypnotic system that is AI intelligence. But you, my friend, you're going to be a free thinker. Maybe you're going to have organic food. You're going to have a business that's self-reliant. You're going to have clients that have the same values as you. And you are going to be living your best life in your little Goshen, because at the end of the day, Goshen will still exist. It's just about where is it going to be and figuring out the steps to get there. Shalom, shalom. I'll see you in the next video.